Hey, buddy.
Jason Griffiths, what's going on, man?
No way. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
You're recording.
I'm recording.
I got my mouse on your face right there.
Thanks for that. That's awesome.
Your right nostril.
What am I supposed to do with that?
I don't even know. Look at your microphone. Looks more professional than mine. What's this thing?
Well, it probably is.
I don't know. This one's pretty good. This one's not the $1 one or whatever.
Ooh, yours is really good. Is fancy, dude. I like
that.
Yeah. You got a nice one now.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if Bianca has one.
Yep.
The last one of these I posted was in October. It's been a little while, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. You were teaching a class or something?
Yeah, I covered a class on a Thursday, so that set those things up. And then this semester, I've had students who want to meet on Thursdays, so that's messed that up. Woo! What is up, guys?
Hi, people. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
Are you using the new microphone you invested in for the sake of the podcast?
I haven't had time. Just kidding. It's
only 6 months ago we talked about doing
it. I honestly can't tell if it's going through here or the camera. So I don't know. I might sound different.
It sounds about the same.
Yeah, you sound really good, B.
Yay!
Yay!
This is awesome.
Back together.
Got the band back together.
We got the band back together.
Can we not do 8:30 normally, or just today? Because 9:30 is kind of pushing it.
All right. Well, we might just need to find another time for the rest of the semester.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's I've got a group of guys that want to do a Bible study that can only do it on Thursday mornings.
Oh, okay.
So it's legitimately can't get to this before that. So.
Okay. Oddly, I think my priority is just earlier in the morning.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely better earlier in the morning.
What do you mean? I'm half asleep right now.
Yeah.
It's just that all my coworkers are here. Like they're right outside the door, and I just would rather come in before they come in.
So the weird part is the time change, right? Because 8:30 your time is 10:30 my time.
Mm-hmm. Or 8. I can probably make work.
I can't do Thursdays though, but I could do a different day maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I could do 10:30 on Tuesdays, or I could do, which is 8:30 your time. On most Tuesdays I could do that. It's just Thursday mornings are bad, but the problem is, like, as soon as the semester's done, Thursdays will be great again.
Oh, I see.
The likelihood that it'll be a problem next semester is pretty low. So I don't want to move everything around on you guys because I've got 4 guys that don't have normal schedules.
I can do it. Let's do Tuesdays until the semester's over. Can you do Tuesdays, B?
Is it 8 or 8:30 on Tuesday?
Either one's fine.
Either one's fine with me too.
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome.
Right, let's do that.
All right, I'm putting it in the
8:30 or 8. What time?
Either one for me.
Let's do 8. Well, yeah, let's do 8. Let me double check something real fast.
You might not be getting my best self, but
I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
But what's half an hour?
what's a half hour? Huh?
We'll shoot for 8 a.m. Tuesdays.
Perfect.
Okay. Excellent. And I'll start this Tuesday.
And we'll start this coming Tuesday.
Excellent.
I'm excited to get back in the game, guys.
I am too. It's cool to be back together.
I've got no problem with our website, so I have to get that worked out too.
We have a website. One of the
glitches we ran into. Well, we posted. Fair enough.
We do.
We post them on a website somewhere so that we can pull them off for that.
Oh, got it. And there's something going on with that.
And there's something going on with that. There's 6 files on that website that are outdated, but I updated them. They just haven't fixed. So I've got to talk to the host provider to figure out what's going on with that. It's a lot of obnoxiousness is the point.
I'm grateful for you, Greg. Yeah. Thanks for doing all that legwork, and that's amazing.
Yeah, technology is not my thing. Way to go, Greg.
Well, there's my verbal affirmation for. I found my fifth one, guys.
I think we all just found the new name for our podcast.
Way to go, Greg.
For sure, got to be on T-shirts now.
Yeah,
that's a done deal.
And you have to correct people when they say it wrong. No, it's not way to go, Greg. It's way to go, Greg.
Greg.
There's a slight question mark, slight excitement.
Yeah, no, that's the only way to take it.
I'm really good at verbal affirmation.
Even to yourself, that's impressive.
And still sarcastic too.
Are we gonna try and get anything done or not?
Yeah, let's try to do a couple of these. If nothing else, we can just do like a half episode as kind of a fun get back on the horse and let people know, hey, we're coming back on Tuesday.
Is it 5? Is it?
It's 5.
3 or 5? Okay.
It's 3.
Let's do 3.
Okay.
Just to kind of get back rolling, and then if you have 5, you can save a couple for Tuesday because that's going to come quick.
Okay.
And I already know that conversation is coming on Tuesday, which is it wasn't a full week.
Yeah.
It's hard to get 5.
Oh my God.
All I did was go to concerts and eat food. I don't understand. I don't have these great stories.
Oh my God, you are like reading my mind. This is crazy.
You only had 6 months to come up with 5 of them, but I'm sure there's 5 things
so
since last time we talked.
I'm just really bad at projecting like what it is going to be like. So you saying like, hey, why don't you save these for 4 days from now? I'm like, what? I'm not even thinking about like lunchtime today.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
You're a very in the moment person.
Yeah, this is good though. This is good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to This Week in Gratitude. This is a special half edition sort of thing that we're going to try to work out some kinks so that starting next week we can get back into an awesome rhythm and you can get back into listening consistently. So if you don't know what This Week in Gratitude is and this is your first time, it's pretty straightforward. We being Jason Griffiths in California and Bianca Quezada in Seattle, Washington, and me, Greg Richards, in San Antonio, Texas, get together and we just chat about the things we're grateful for every week. And we try to limit them to 5 or stretch them to 5 in some cases, B. But this week we're going to do 3 of those. And just so you can kind of get a taste for what the podcast is. And we'll go from there. So we record these conversations so you get a chance to hear them. And if there's things you like, that's awesome. If you totally disagree with us on some things, let us know. It'll be fun to have that conversation. So that's what This Week in Gratitude is. We're glad you're with us, and we're ready to get rolling. Jason, you get to go first now, right? This is the agreed upon order of things. Let's do it.
That is wonderful. And since we haven't been together, it's crazy. And I have to insert if you listen to any of these podcasts, there's always, whenever it comes to me first, there's a conversation where there's just too many. And so insert that conversation once again. But February 5th through the 14th, my wife and I had the privilege, the honor to lead a team of people I'm ministering with over to the Holy Land, over to Jerusalem. And we flew into Tel Aviv. We went all around the place. And I was always I think it even came up on the podcast. Like I was kind of like, this is a trip mainly for people with less faith than me. You know, like I don't really need to see it. I don't really need to experience it because, and I'm slightly jaded, you know, from
you?
People. Yeah.
From people.
From everybody saying, you know, like I'm more Christian than you because I've been over there and my tour guide was cousins with Jesus, you know, like it was better than any trip that you could possibly have, you know, like it was. I was
glad you enjoyed Disney.
Yeah, yeah, but you know, it was a surprise. The academic side of me was really kind of encouraged, but my childhood faith, my relationship with Jesus was surprising. Like once I got over there, I thought more of my first learnings of how much God loved me through sending his son Jesus the Christ than I thought. I didn't know I'd feel like a 13-year-old kid so much, you know, and it was really it was excellent. It was just it was a cool personal you know, like a intimate trip, which
That's
surprised
really cool.
me. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it silenced all my negative criticisms, and you know, like, I don't feel like I know more or I'm a better Christian. I was just more encouraged. My childhood hero was real, you know, and that's just it. That's known at a deeper level, you know. I was encouraged at like a deep level of that. So yeah,
So that's good.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. There's not really much you can respond to or talk to or whatever.
No. So Bianca, you've never done this trip either, right?
No, but I did one similar, but it was in the footsteps of Paul. And we
Oh,
went
cool.
to Greece and a little bit of Turkey, just Ephesus, and all over Greece and the islands and stuff. So it was similar, but not to the Holy Lands, not like
Yeah.
I've
your
never
guys'
even been to
pictures.
Europe, so you guys both have me beat on that.
Oh.
But I'm jaded like Jason that way, where it's like I've always kind of just thought, it doesn't seem that interesting to me. I'm not sure, but now you got me thinking, Jason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was interesting that being like the childlike kid, the Holy Spirit was like just really present and just saying stuff all the time. And it was nuts. It was a really cool. I wish it was longer, you know. I wish because that we only went over for 10 days and we were just basically running from place to place. And I thought one of the highlights of the whole thing, plug for myself, my wife and I were doing the Garden of Gethsemane you know, devotional, and we just wisely said, hey, let's stop and just breathe for a second, because we were just running. And the moment we stopped, everybody on the team just started bawling. It was intense. It was just like, this is like, it was cool. But that made me, man, I wish this was like a 3-week trip, or at least, or just maybe cut out a couple of the things and just hang out in one place longer, you know.
I want to give a quick shout out to Jason's Instagram. So if you you are listening and you're like, man, I would love to see what Jason's talking about, or I'd like to see Jason in Jerusalem for some reason. Well, you can follow his Instagram. Jason, do you know your Instagram handle? There's no way.
I think it's just Jay Griffiths.
All right. That sounds possibly right.
And you were leading it, Jason? You and Malia were leading it, or you were just on it?
We were co-leading it with my boss and and her husband, and they were really leading it, but we were.
So it is Jay Griffiths.
Yeah.
So on Instagram. So if you want to follow Jason,
JGRI.
He takes a lot of pictures anyway.
Yeah. ICE. Yeah. And I tried to take, like, there's only like one picture of me, I think. That's
it was good. You did a good job.
That's me in a fanny pack in front of the Wailing Wall, which was probably my favorite picture.
Great combo. That was
my favorite one was your picture of a door that you titled "Door," so we would know what it was. Recaptures are my favorite part every time.
And that door, just in case, if you listen to this podcast, you'll know more than anyone else. But that door is that's Caiaphas's house, where Jesus was imprisoned right before he was crucified.
So Caiaphas's door would have been a more helpful.
Yeah. But I like
one more word.
I like that. One more word.
Description.
I like to hide things, you know, that way people see.
Very mysterious. Very mysterious.
Door. Listen to the podcast to find out more.
That would be an amazing plug, Jason. I'm going to talk about this door on the next podcast.
And on the podcast, go to my Instagram to see.
Wow, that's like next level, dude.
Boom.
Branding,
boom.
man. Branding.
Boom.
All right, B, that puts you up. What do you got for us?
Okay, I'm sorry, mine's not as spiritual, but
every time.
But this, as I was thinking, earlier this morning, what my list was going to be, I was reading a book and I was like, there's no way this book is not going to be on the list. Best book. And then now it's number 1. So this might have been the best thing that's happened to me in the last couple months, only because I keep referring to it. And it's this book called Sapiens, and I can't remember who wrote it. and it goes through the history of humans and like how we've gathered ourselves, like the agricultural revolution, the you know, the way religion has come into play with the way that humans operate even now in 2019. And then he does a whole chapter on possibly the future. For it's bleak, by the way. And
Jason will love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I mean, at the time reading it, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But since finishing it, I refer to it probably like once a day. Like, well, Sapiens said. But I know it's doing something in my brain where it's like I'm making all the connections. It's just taking a longer time. But when I was reading, it's like, it's interesting. You know, I've read a few books like this, but he just goes really in depth with some things that I just like. There's like a whole chapter just on economics, and I'm like, yeah, I've never actually studied economics before. Like, this is kind of interesting. And so, if you're at all interested in the little nuances of what makes us human, or you know, what we all have in common, I thought was kind of cool. Also, I would pick up the book 'Sapiens by this guy.
That's crazy. So I've actually had the exact opposite experience with that book.
You read it?
No, I haven't read it. Because I've had like 3 or 4 people around me who have read it who like
don't talk about it.
No, they talk about it a lot, and my response has been like, I don't know. Like, I actually know like one guy who like stopped coming to Bible studies and stuff because he read it, and he was like, no, this is this religious stuff is a hoax. I'm out. And I was like, what? Okay, so I didn't like that part, but it gave me a bad taste for the book. But now you're recommending it, so I might have to go back and look at it. Well,
it's challenging. It for sure is challenging, but maybe if you don't already have a foundation in your spiritual life, it'll raise some questions, but it might be good for someone who is looking for things like that to read it along to someone they trust, that you can have a conversation with them about some of the chapters, specifically about religion. But I mean, I'm like Jason, pretty secure in what it is I believe and where this fits in for these kind of chapters. And I would love to explore that more with someone who had more foundational questions about it. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. But I also am a science kind of analytical mind. So I liked the merger of like, this is data. Like, we can track this, but also, you know, this seems to be the trend of human beings. And then I've got my own thing I like to add in there. So anyway, I liked it.
That's awesome. I've heard I've heard it's really well written. It's one of the, you know, like you have like just this thing in the back of your head of like, oh, there's something about this and I can't quite remember what it is. There's another conversation to be had here, B. I just don't know what it is. I can't remember what it is. We'll have to do that some other time.
Okay. Maybe Tuesday.
No, probably not Tuesday. There's probably not a.
Do your research.
I gotta look up what I. There's something else floating in there that I don't remember, so I gotta look at it and see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And you're reading books.
Reading books.
That's good news. That's good stuff.
Now I just need to read the ones you recommend. And
eventually.
Be able to talk about them.
Listen, I've long since given up hope that anybody's going to read books I recommended them. Well, Jason has broken me of that time and time again. There's no reason to get excited. But while we're talking about recommendations of books, I might as well give my first one. I've been working through Eugene Peterson's Reverse Thunder, which is his commentary on Revelation. Because I've been preaching through Revelation, and I've been using his kind of outline or like his chapter breaks is sort of the way I've preached through them. And I have never run across a commentary as good as this one. It's fantastic.
Does it bump that? Remember your Corinthians one.
The Corinthians one is good. And then Walton has a really good one on Job that's really helpful. But this one, like
Reverse Thunder. I love that.
It's great. So Reverse Thunder is a line from a George Herbert poem.
Ooh,
and he pulls it from there's this scene in chapter 8 of Revelation where God takes all the prayers of the saints and mixes them with this fragrant offering that he's like swinging around heaven, and then sends them back onto earth in this like reverse thunder. It says it thunders and lightning. So anyway, it's a cool picture of what God does with our prayers. But anyway, the book is amazing. Like I don't know. I've been really genuinely impressed and like kind of shocked by it because it doesn't read like a commentary for one thing. but it's super pastoral. And it
Everything
reads
he
like
does
Peterson,
like
which
that.
is not surprising. Yeah, but it's like
It's so surprising that we don't usually read what you recommend, because you actually, like right now, I really want to go run and read it.
Yeah, but you won't. And then
I will. No, I think this one I will. I think this one, because Eugene is one of my. And you remember you mentioned that his son Leaf.
Yeah.
Did that, like those, and I've been just referring to that over and over.
Right, me too.
Yeah,
that's really
been
good.
Rolling around in the back of my head. But Reverse Thunder, Malia did her senior thesis on Herbert's, so I want to talk to her about it. Yeah,
nice.
Berkeley,
Ask her if she knows that poem.
Yeah,
I don't know the name of the poem. I just know it's a line from the poem.
Nemesis.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I love it.
But there's a chapter where he just talks about what it means to be the church. That's about the most astonishing, like, quick summation of what it means to be the church. And then there's a chapter where he talks about why war is evil. That's amazing. I don't know, just really, really good. The side note, fun thing about this book, I got a copy of it when I was in college, and so the one I have is used, and whoever had it before me had no idea what Peterson was doing.
It's funny, like question mark, like what?
Exactly. He must have he had to have been marking it up for a class, because he just has all these notes of like, this isn't in the text. I don't understand what you're saying here. Question mark. That's not true. There's exegesis question mark. And like, it's like, oh man, you just radically missed the poetry of Peterson on this. Like, it's such a humbling thing to read, because it's like, oh man, how many books have I done this in that I've just missed the point completely?
Yeah.
But this guy, I looked him up to see if he still is like a pastor somewhere, and the guy is definitely still a pastor. I've almost sent it back to him and said, I think you should give this another shot, but it really is terrible. It's like the worst markings I've ever seen in a book. But it's made it really fun to read, because it's like, oh man, this guy is awful.
This guy's awful.
I like reading Jason's old books because the margins go boom with like little stars.
What?
Exclamation point stars all over the thing. Like,
oh my goodness.
No actual English.
It keeps me actively listening. And I'll go on to my second one, and less spiritual. We'll just step into it. Pete Holmes has got that HBO new special. Have you watched Pete Holmes's new special?
Yeah.
Not yet, because I thought I was, but I was watching the old one the whole time. I'm going to.
I wish he ended it a different way,
Mm-hmm.
but all the rest of it was gold. I loved. I love that there's, like, good humor is like based on truth. Like just observing true things. I really dig
He's
his.
gotten so good.
He has gotten so sharp. Yeah. And it's a really good special. I love that there's a bit that really makes you think, like when he says, that's effing crazy, like wait. And when he starts talking about how we have two voices, he's just like,
who am I talking about?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
And can you yell inside your head? Like I don't know. There's just, I like it. I like that.
Well, he's got the whole section on belief, right? Like, I can't believe this because it doesn't make any sense. And he's like, you know what else doesn't make any sense? This.
Everything.
Like right now. Like everything around makes no sense.
And his bit on traffic is awesome.
Yep.
He keeps doing that one on late night too. Just be patient. There's always a guy right next to you in a white BMW, just with a vein popping out of his neck, screaming. I don't know. It's just really funny. It's good.
Yeah,
so
he's super.
If you haven't seen it yet, go watch that thing.
I like that you like Pete Holmes.
Yeah, he went to Gordon. I almost went to Gordon when I was choosing between Biola.
Yeah,
my choice was between Biola and Gordon.
Didn't we go by there in Boston?
We did, and we hung out with what's his face, John Tony.
Crazy.
Great. Okay.
That's a good one. We're all in agreement on Pete Holmes stuff.
That's so
Pete
funny.
Holmes
I've been listening
funny.
to Pete Holmes since like 2012, and I just love that he's like getting famous, and my friends like him. We can talk about him. Anyway.
We could take a quick second. What's your favorite Pete Holmes bit?
Oh gosh.
Not necessarily from the new one, but do you have one of all? I have a for sure go-to Pete Holmes bit. That's my favorite.
Let's hear it.
He does the bit about how Google means the difference between knowing and not knowing is like 0.8 seconds. So you'd never feel like you don't know anymore.
Oh, I
so
know
like
what
knowing
you're
and not
talking
knowing
about.
feel
I
the
do
same.
like that bit.
I know
And then he
it.
tells the whole story about like
Tom
it used to be when he was growing up, if you didn't know where Tom Petty was from, you just didn't know. And so you spent your whole life wondering, where's Tom Petty from? And then one day you meet a girl in a Tom Petty t-shirt and she tells you Florida, and you're like, that's how I met my wife. That's totally true.
Oh man, I was swept away with yours. I just really like Pete Holmes. I don't know.
I also thoroughly enjoy when he just plays like silly with names.
I was gonna say that I won.
Yeah,
that actually like
that's
popped
a
in my head, but it was
fantastic
like too hard to explain.
Yeah.
I won because I actually say that.
I won.
I won.
1-1.
I just
You guys can look that bit up. That one's clean. That one's a funny bit.
yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite bit. I don't know. Nothing's popping. It's hard seeing past the HBO special. I think
The thing that's crazy about Pete Holmes is he's an amazing impressionist.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do it very often in
good.
his stand-up anymore. And it's like he's so good at it though.
And
He
I think
practices on his podcast.
Yeah.
I think I love his positive. The first thing I was I wasn't even thinking it was a bit, but he was on. It was right after his kid was born, and he was on Neil O'Brien or something, and he was talking, and everybody was saying how hard it is being a parent, and he says, you know, that's just part of it, you know. And I like his joyful spin.
Yeah.
On what most comedians kind of, they go the other way. They like say, man, like I haven't slept in 3 days, but he's like, I haven't slept in 3 days. This is like a miracle, you know, like, you know, like, and life is right in front of me, you know, like he just has a positive
joy
lens.
is the right word. Yeah.
He has a joyful lens that washes over everything, and it's like a childhood, like juvenile, like, because it's slightly dirty too, you know, like
for sure.
It's not always clean, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought that, Jason, that he and Phil Majorans look alike?
Yes,
They look very similar. It throws me off
do.
a lot. They're very different people, but
And a golden retriever. He also looks like a golden retriever.
A lesbian Val Kilmer, right?
Yeah, that's what he says. He's like, I know.
Oh boy! All right, B, take us away. What's the next one you got?
Okay, I'm just going to pick one. So in January, I went down to Portland for a weekend and saw Colin Malloy, who's the lead singer of the Decemberists, play in a church. It was a benefit for his kid's school. His kid has autism, and he goes to a special needs school, and so he's raising money for it. And he said, these are my volunteer hours, these are my parent volunteer hours, even though it was like people paid like to come watch this brilliant singer-songwriter. So this definitely had to have made my list. It was a beautiful venue. I'm really glad I went. Beautiful songs. And it just reminds me, I say this every once in a while, but like I'll mention, you know, a Wilco, or I'm looking forward to this Jeff Tweedy book coming in so I can read about his biography. And I just feel very cliche, like, oh, what are you? Like, you live in Seattle, female, mid-30s. You must really like the Decemberists. I'm like, oh yeah, I love the Decemberists. You excited about the new Wilco? Oh yeah. I think you might really like Pearl Jam. No, I really do. It's like so cliche. Like, so I always like check myself when I'm like, oh, have you heard of Pedro the Lion? Like, it's like I'm super living right into the track that I need.
That'd be a hilarious podcast of just like songs or like bands everybody knows Bianca should like that Bianca actually does like.
And I'm like, yeah.
Just something like, of course I like that. That's the whole. Of course I like them. That should be the whole thing.
Like I was trying to describe Frances Ha the movie, and I'm like, you know Greta Gerwig, and they're like, nope. I'm like, well, it kind of means a lot to me. Like, it's very cliche that I like Greta Gerwig, but I do.
That's
doing some really interesting.
That's a very Pete Holmes thing. Now that we're talking more like that, it's okay to just like the stuff you like.
Right? I know,
Yeah.
but it's like very predictable, which I'm just gonna have to get over.
Yeah,
I'm nothing special. Like they know exactly the lane that's going to make me like it, and I'm in it. I
It's
love
that
it.
feeling. I have that feeling whenever Facebook or Twitter somebody recommends something for me, and it's like, oh, now I can't even like it,
'Cause you
even though
knew I
it's
would
exactly what I
like
wanted to
it.
get. How dare you?
Yes, I will buy that.
Man, all right, you got me. You got
I
me. The
will
algorithm
go
worked
for it.
again.
I know.
That's golden. I dig Colin Malloy. I like that guy a lot.
Oh yeah.
I like
That's good.
every time he has the same effect on me that Donald Miller has, in that he wants to be like when I listen to him or when I experience, because he the way Preston Nanny turned me on to the December. I kind of like Decemberists, but Preston Nanny at Trinity, he was really into Colin Malloy, and then he recommended there was this book series of just alternative like musicians writing about the bands that they doing research and writing a book on the bands that influenced them. And he wrote a book on the Replacements out of Minnesota or Milwaukee or somewhere where Greg's from. Somewhere in the middle of the country that kind of counts. I'm just messing. But it was a really well written book. And then after that, I just listened to it. And he like his albums are like concept albums about like 16th century pirates, and like there's all these he's just a really creative dude. And so every time I listen to him, it makes me want to write or like do something creative. I think I like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
I have a real music question for you guys.
I've never seen him though.
I think this is the right time to bring it up.
What?
Maybe it's a confession, maybe it's a question. I'm not sure. I hate Radiohead, and like I can't get into them, and I keep trying. And so I have a son, Calvin, who loves Radiohead.
Good.
And is like convinced that they're like the best band ever. And he keeps trying to get me to like them, and I can't. I just don't like them, and I don't know how to articulate it more than just like the sounds they make irritate me. I don't know how else to explain it. So
you've kind of stumbled into it, because I had loved Radiohead until after OK Computer. I liked it.
You liked OK Computer, and then nothing after that?
I liked the one before that too. The Benz.
Today. Well, Benz, yeah.
Yeah, Benz, and then there was something else too. I think they had 3 albums.
Kid A?
Yeah. No, Kid A was after Radio. I that's when I started to not like Radiohead. They flipped the switch and they went a different way.
Yeah.
They started throwing like more like arena and like techno stuff, like a more instrument, like like weird
electronic
sounds,
like stuff.
Yeah. And so they lost me anyway. But so yeah, I can't help you.
You can't help me articulate why I don't like them. And B, you just like them, right?
I like them.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my coworker loves them. We talk about Radiohead probably 3 times a day, including yesterday.
Wow.
And we watched a long-winded clip about one particular song, and I was enthralled.
Oh yeah, so is Calvin, man. And he keeps trying to get me into this stuff.
Well, listen to In Rainbows. Just put
that's
on
the one he likes the most. Yeah, I do not like.
Put on those huge headphones you have on now. Go sit out. No,
okay,
don't.
So this is
sit inside.
You are exactly in the wheelhouse of my complaint against Radiohead, which is
you're gonna be.
I had a buddy in college who loved Radiohead, and I think OK Computer had just come out, or maybe the one right after OK Computer, and he says it's amazing. Here's what you do: lay on the floor in the middle of your house.
You've already said you don't like that.
And play it as loud as you can in the house. Just lay on the floor. Nobody else is home. It's the middle of the night. It's going to be amazing. And my whole thing is, if you have to do that to like an album, it's not a good album.
Not like it. Just appreciate it.
Things I have to do to enjoy it.
Like it.
Yeah. No. And I think I might have a key for us, because I think Radiohead, they came out with Kid A, and then Muse hit the scene, and I think Muse sounds like bad Radiohead.
Yeah, I don't like Muse either.
I hate Muse because I'm like they took Radiohead what I didn't like about him and just magnified it.
Perfect.
But then I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, which is Queen.
Yeah.
And Queen, they made music. Some of their music, it doesn't make any sense outside of an arena.
Right.
Like We Will Rock You. Like it doesn't make any sense outside of an arena. Like you have to be. It's like I think they were the first band that they wrote music for huge venues, like to experience in a live show where the volume can be like on an 11 and people are yelling the same thing at the same time. Yeah, like, and I think that's what Muse. That's your ticket back into Muse. I think Muse doesn't make any sense unless you're in an arena.
Oh, I would never go to that arena.
Yeah, me too. I would, because I think it's formulaic, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they've taken what Queen has done and just kind of trashed it a little
so
bit.
So this is Calvin's argument is that Radiohead is so prolific and so important to the rest of the genre.
Calvin right now
that you have to listen to them, and it's like I don't like just because they're influential doesn't mean they're any good. Like it doesn't mean I like their stuff. So
not just influential, but they're it's an appreciation. I think either you have it or you don't, because they don't sound like anybody else. So
here's a fact. Here's a fact that will close every Radiohead's fan's mouth. Alanis Morissette discovered them.
Boom! Game over.
Boom! That.
They did. They opened for Alanis Morissette. Otherwise, they wouldn't have never been heard.
Wow!
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Boom!
Also, never give up, Calvin. If you're hearing this, don't let the man get you down.
But then, so interject Malia. Have you heard the new?
Heard the newer Alanis? I love it.
That's because she doesn't like us when we talk about music anyway. All right,
it's my third one. So to make that one all make sense, I'm just gonna say my third one has been conversations with my son about music. Because Calvin is like just wired in, and he's got like real opinions and real views on things, and he listens to all kinds of stuff I don't listen to. But one of my favorite things is he's trying to find a band that I really like that I don't know yet, so that he can find this band. And he goes, and like one of my favorites is he came home. You guys will appreciate this story for other reasons, but he came home and he goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of the band Mountain Goats? I think you'd really like them." And I was like, "I love Mountain Goats." He goes, "Ah!" He's so angry because he hates it when he finds bands that I've already listened to that I like.
He's gonna find like new bands because you wouldn't know those.
I wouldn't know those.
Yeah. So who sounds like Mountain Goats that's doing?
I don't know, but it's just funny because it's like I'm enjoying it from the outside. It's kind of like, you know, when you take like food and you deconstruct it into these parts. That's what he's doing with my taste in music. So he thinks he can. Like, and I told him right up front, like, I just hate falsetto. Don't find any guys that are singing falsetto. And he still every time comes back with some guy singing falsetto. It's like, that's pretty easy. Like you can rule that out right off the top. But anyway, but that's been a lot of fun. And he's in the middle of track season, so shout out to Calvin. He's running like crazy, listening to a lot of music and trying to figure me out. So we'll see.
Go Calvin.
Go Calvin.
That's our next T-shirt. My
little brother, because he's 17 years younger.
Yeah,
Andy. That's why I love that band Alt J. I saw him when they were in Michigan. But that's especially why I love that band, because he was trying to do the same thing, you know, because he's so much younger than me. He's always trying to find the band that was something I hadn't heard in something I loved.
Yeah.
And that's Alt J, that band Alt J to me. Anyway, and so you just sparked a new fire for. I wonder what Zeke's gonna find.
Right? It's so cool. Right? It's like such a fun. I never anticipated it as a parent, and I don't love music the same way that he does. Even so, it's like, so it's been so fun to watch him kind of embrace certain things and like, oh, you got to hear this or you got to hear this. He hasn't got it figured out yet, but once he does, it's gonna be a blast.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's a really good.
Got to make your top 5 once he does.
Oh, for sure. When he uncovers a band that we can both listen to together, that we can both really enjoy. The problem is we just enjoy music so differently that it's really him. Like he's trying really hard, which I appreciate, but it hasn't connected yet. So
and that's and Willie's for you and your dad, right?
Yeah, most country is for me and my dad. That's kind of how I like. Country for me is like a connector point with my dad.
That'd be it. What about you, B? Mom or dad? A band that like you connect with your parents?
It's funny. I was just thinking, well, I was telling the story, but like kind of the old like Harry Nilsson kind of, I don't know what you would categorize.
Yeah.
They kind of like drugged out. I guess I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, we like weed rock together.
Yeah.
That covers a lot of
Just,
a
like,
lot of
plays
music.
with my mom. No, more of like the Fleetwood Mac, Harry Nilsson, kind of like Warren Zevon kind of thing. That's kind of what we do together. Yeah. We all like it. Or I don't know if we all like it, but me and my mom, we were on a road trip once a few years ago, and I kept doing that thing. Like, what about this? She's like, nah. I like, what about this? What this? And then we get on Harry Nilsson. She's like, oh, where did you get this? I'm like, Mom, you gave this to me. So then that's what it was for the rest of the trip. Just things like that. And yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's really good. All right, Jason, your third and last one.
My third and last one, it's between a book and people. Which one?
Wait, we're not voting on your last one, man. You
Well,
just have
I
to
got too many. Okay, I'll do people. I think it's people. Travis Wright and Lindsay Wright. They came out because they're just they want to do a first family vacation. They went to San Diego. Lindsay accidentally booked a whale watching trip. She thought it was out of San Diego, but it was actually out of Newport Beach. So she had to drive up. Yeah, that happened. So they got to go up to Newport Beach, but they said, who lives around Newport Beach? And they texted me, and I was like, we're in. So my wife and my kids, we all met up with their family. And it's we say this a bunch.
It's crazy, right?
But it's like, the first time I really had alone time with Travis was I was interviewing him. He was becoming a student intern, and it was the same week that I was leaving San Antonio. Yeah. So we kind of just were two ships passing in the night, and but just those little touch points, God brings friendships, and it was just it's interesting. Just when people see you a certain way. And that's a piece of you too. And I really liked the Jason and Malia that first met Travis.
Yeah.
And we only met Lindsay just a couple of years ago. So, I really like that too. It's just it was just neat. It was kind of a sabbatical in the middle of kind of at the end of the week, but just grabbing lunch and stepping back into San Antonio and remembering that we're all following the same Jesus, and we're all working on the same team, and we're all part of this first family, this church family. And it was just encouraging. It was cool because we were driving away, and Malia was like, man, it's so crazy. It was like community, but totally in a different way than we normally experience, it's just longevity community. You know what I mean? So it was encouraging. So it's kind of a shout out to Travis. Yeah. And Lynn's just thanks for throwing us in the mix.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
That's cool. I'll go. My next
good, because that is the pattern. So.
I know, but it was waiting for someone to comment on Jason's thing.
Yeah.
Now Jason had picked like a bunch this time that we can't even comment on. So
yeah,
I know. Yeah. I don't know them very well. I mean, I know of them, and I think I probably met Travis a few times, but I don't. I love that people are visiting you guys.
Yeah. That's the point of that story.
Yeah.
But even though you guys are old and out in the middle of nowhere, out the pasture, people still stop by and say hi. I think that's great. I think it's great.
I want to go to California.
I don't want to like this to sound bad. But
there we go.
It's a horrible way to start it, but
I'm so excited about this.
It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see people grow, and as I wouldn't say that Travis was ever an arrogant person, but I would say his humility and his wisdom, that knob has been turned up like way more over the time I've watched him.
You could say he was an arrogant person. I think Travis would appreciate that. You might as well be honest on the podcast.
no,
there's a reason we were all friends.
He was probably arrogant, but he didn't say enough to know. Like he was so quiet and so
birds of a feather. That's
But that was just it's so encouraging to see our people that we pour into grow deeper than us.
Sure.
that comes up almost every time we get together. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's coming up. It's just that is just one of the golden parts of doing this.
So the moment I knew Travis and I were going to be really good friends, we were traveling to what's this Acuna. We were doing the Acuna trip, and we had somebody else in our van who really wanted to control the music, but she wasn't driving, and so she had like whole books of CDs of like, hey, let's play this, and she was a little like Bianca in terms.
I know, I was gonna say, was it me?
It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It was not, but it was somebody who had like the same sort of music snobbery from Seattle. Hey, I know really good music, and so, but the entire trip to Del Rio, I kept saying, "No, we'll wait, and we finally get there and start unpacking, and Travis, fully aware. Looks at everybody gets out of the car, and like Travis and Kyle and I are unpacking, and Travis goes, hey, there's a whole book of CDs here. I wish I would have known she had CDs. We could have listened to them. And I was just like, oh, you and I are going to be
got her good.
I wish you had mentioned CDs. So, anyway.
That's funny.
Awesome.
Okay, well, my next one is a Christmas, since we have been not meeting for a long time. But I went down to Texas for Christmas.
Yeah, thanks for saying hi.
Oh, I went all the way down to South Texas. No major cities. So I just went down. We fly through Harlingen. My family has a house now down in, it's near Raymondville. I mean, it's like really not near anything big. So I think it's about like 45 minutes from Harlingen, if you know where that is. Yeah, so we went down there for Christmas. Some of my cousins were there. My aunts and uncles were there. It was just a really good time, and this is what we're grateful for. So I'm just grateful to have seen my family. And my sister came home from abroad. She's living in China. My brother and sister-in-law came down too. So we were all together in this this house in the middle of Texas. Yeah, it was just a good time to be together. Got to see what's going on down there, and everyone stayed safe. That's what awesome. I like. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that you have a family place in Texas now. We had talked about that before, but I'm glad.
Oh, it's built. They're living there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah. They'll come back for when it gets too hot down there, but
I was just in McAllen.
Oh yeah, it's near McAllen. I mean, a little bit further than McAllen. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Nice, B.
That's it.
All right.
I like Texas.
Yeah, I like Texas, and I like your family, so that's cool.
Yeah, there you go.
I have my third one. I thought to myself, what's one Jason wants to say but won't say because it's either because it's a podcast or he ran out of time or whatever. So I just picked one that I thought for sure Jason would have said. So it's
there's so much time. I can't even believe Christmas on the table.
Me too on Cold Air. That's my favorite answer.
Here's one I think Jason wanted to say, but for whatever reason stopped himself from saying. I loved the Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper Oscars moment. I thought that was awesome. So, it's been in my head all week. Like it's been
really?
Like just
rattling.
The song has been like legitimately rattling in my brain all week. And I haven't posted it yet because we're still editing it. But me and a student, one of my key student leaders at St. Mary's did a reenactment of it.
Oh my God.
So it's pretty fantastic. He's great in it. So.
Wait, are you Lady Gaga then?
No, I have the beard, so I'm Bradley Cooper, but he's Lady Gaga.
What world are we living in right now?
It's going to be very funny when it finally posted to be hilarious. But
okay.
Just so you guys are all on the lookout for that. But I also, the thing that makes me laugh about it the most is I saw a tweet afterwards from somebody. A lady tweeted that she rewatched the Bradley Cooper Lady Gaga moment, and now she's pregnant.
I know. Well, I was
like, oh my gosh.
No one said this, but apparently they were going out there as the characters, not like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, but the characters from the movie. But no one introduced them that way, so
nobody introduced it at all. Yeah,
I don't know if it's true or not, but it would explain a lot of what was happening.
Either way, it was surprisingly uncomfortable. So I enjoy
I
that.
didn't watch the Oscars, but I did definitely see that.
I didn't watch the Oscars either, but I saw that part. So I was like,
Yeah.
I haven't
live
seen-
music, super awkward. This is Jason's wheelhouse. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and
This
I'm
is
gonna
crazy.
reenact it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen
What,
I haven't even
Jason?
seen that. Yeah, this is how far off the radar I
He's been
am.
on a spiritual
what's going
journey,
on?
Greg. When was he gonna have time to watch this?
You're right. You're
It's
right.
crazy. I'm still weirdly jet lagged, which is it's a couple of weeks away. It was a couple of weeks ago, but I fell asleep at like 6 on Sunday. So I missed the Oscars.
Oh, this is the problem with having a podcast with old people. They're like, I didn't realize.
No, because in Israel it's 10 hours ahead. You know, like I'm still weirded out. I don't
3
know.
weeks ago.
It takes a
It's
while.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was nice of you to consider.
Yeah. So I considered Jason. Jason, you gotta look that one up. You're gonna enjoy it thoroughly. And I like the movie, so that was kind of like we talked about the movie before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I remember you like that.
So, all right. Well, this is a good kind of start back for us, although it took a long time. So that's good. We get these
We
long
still like to talk
chatting.
to each other, which is fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's true. Not alive.
I'm going to fix the website stuff and post this up. If you've listened to this, we hope you enjoy it. And go ahead and subscribe and rate us. That makes it easier for other people to find us. And it just makes us feel better mostly. So please do that. And we'll be back more consistently on a sort of weekly basis starting next week. So thanks, everybody.
Bye.